Hello and welcome to another video on A-Level Maths Dumbfied. Today we are going to start a series on calculus, and we're going to be starting with differentiation. Before we go any further deep into this topic of calculus and differentiation, I would like to introduce the idea of gradients. And today I'm going to be using Desmos.com, which is a calculator website and also a graphing website, and it's going to help me illustrate my ideas in this video. So without further ado, let's begin. So all of you know what the gradient of a line is. The gradient of a line is the rate of change. It's basically the rate of change. For example, if we plot a graph of y against x, the gradient of that line will be the rate of change of y with respect to x. Now, let's look at a simple line here. Y is equal to 2x plus the gradient of the straight line is 2. Okay, and the gradient is the same throughout. You know this already. The gradient of a straight line is constant at every single point, which means if we take this point negative 2, 0, the gradient is 2. If we take this point 0, 4, the gradient is 2. But what does the gradient really mean? If we plot a graph of y against x, the thing that you have to understand is that the gradient, it actually represents the rate of change of y with respect to the rate of change of x. Okay? Delta y over delta x. This means the rate of change of y with respect to the rate of change of x. If this is equal to 2, what that means is when the x coordinate changes by 1, the y coordinate is going to change by 2. For example, over here, our x coordinate is negative 2 and our y coordinate is 0. Now, because the gradient of this graph is 2, what happens is that if our x-coordinate increases by 1, for example, we go to negative 1, our y-coordinate is going to increase by 2. So if we go to x is equal to 1, if our x-coordinate increases by 1, then our y-coordinate is going to increase by 2. So if we start here on our x-coordinate being negative 2, if it increases by 1, so that it's now negative 1, the y-coordinate is going to increase by 2, so that it's now 2. So that is what the gradient of a line is. So when you look at the gradient of a line and you see that the gradient of the line is 2, you should think about this. Delta y over delta x. The change in y with respect to the change in x. If this x changes by 1, this y is going to change by 2. If the gradient of the line was 5, what that really means is if this x changes by 5, if this x changes by 1, y is going to change by 5. So that's what the gradient of a line really means. It really tells us by how much the y-coordinate of the graph is going to change when the x-coordinate makes a unit change. Unit change means when it decreases or increases by 1. So that brings me to the end of this first video where I really wanted to explain what the gradient of a line really is. In the next video, we're going to start looking at the gradients of curves, because when it's a straight line, the gradient is the same everywhere. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, guys, please leave a comment below, like the video, subscribe to the channel, press the notification bell, and share the channel, share the video. Until next time.